Do this every morning for 7 days. I was shocked by what happened after. They say success takes years. That transformation is slow. That peace of mind is a luxury. But what if they're wrong? What if everything you've been told about change is just incomplete? Because here's a truth most people never discover. Your life doesn't change in years. It changes in days. Sometimes, it changes in a single morning. And no, this isn't another productivity hack or list of habits you've seen recycled 1,000 times. This is deeper, raw, real, rooted in timeless principles. For the next 7 days, you're going to do something most people will never dare. You're going to take back control. You'll step out of autopilot, step into intention, and activate the version of yourself that's been waiting in silence. In just 1 week, you'll begin to feel your identity shift, your energy align, and your mind clear. But make no mistake, this isn't easy. It will ask for your presence, your commitment, and your courage to look at your fears head on. And if you do, the results may shock you, just like they shocked me. So before we begin, ask yourself this. Are you willing to give 7 mornings of your life to finally start living like it matters? If the answer is yes, then lean in. Because once you begin, nothing inside you will ever quite be the same again. Day 1. Take charge of your morning before the world does. There's a moment, quiet and fleeting, that lives between the last breath of sleep and the first sound of the waking world. It is in this sacred space that your power is waiting. Yet, most people trample over it, fumbling for a screen, injecting chaos before they've even taken their first conscious breath. But not the few. The few understand that within that silence lies intention, a moment to reclaim presence before the avalanche of distraction begins. This is where you build your foundation, or let it crumble. He once knew a man who started every day with a loud alarm, 3 missed calls, and a dozen open apps. By 7 a.m., his mind was already a battlefield. What that man didn't know, what so few are taught, is that how you begin your day sets the energetic anchor for everything that follows. Respiration, stillness, even 2 minutes of silence, acts like the captain's wheel of a ship. One slight turn, and you end up in a different ocean. You don't need a monastery, just your bed, your breath, and your awareness. So here's what you do. When you wake up tomorrow, don't reach for the world. Reach for yourself. Breathe slowly. Let your thoughts settle before you speak, scroll, or strive. Ask yourself, will I begin this day in chaos or calm? That choice, though small, has the power to shape your identity, your auto-consciousness, and your momentum. Most won't do this. Most will slip into automatic pilot, letting the outside world define their inside reality. But you're not most people, are you? Day 2, set a clear intention. He used to believe success was buried somewhere inside a to-do list, until he realized that productivity without intention is just motion without meaning. Most people wake up and immediately ask, what do I have to do today? But the wise ask, who must I become today? The difference is subtle, but life-changing. The former puts you in survival mode. The latter activates your power of creation, the power to mold your day around a chosen identity, not just react to noise. Imagine this. You walk into a room with the energy of someone grounded, present, and purposeful. People feel it before you even speak. That's the magic of living with intention. It's not about being productive for the sake of checking boxes. It's about aligning your actions with the frequency of who you want to become. Want more love? Be love. Want more peace? Be peace. You cannot attract what you haven't first embodied. Growth starts not with action, but with a decision of who you will be while you act. So before you touch your calendar, take 60 seconds. Sit in silence. Ask yourself, what is the energetic theme of my day? Maybe today, you choose to lead with calm confidence. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe today, you intend to forgive faster. Hold that word like a compass. Return to it when life tries to knock you off course. That's how you replace chaos with calm, distraction with presence, and reaction with transformation. And something even more powerful happens when you live that way. But we'll talk about that when the sun begins to set. Day 3, reflect on the day with compassion. When the night falls and silence begins to wrap the world in stillness, most people numb themselves. TV humming, snacks on the couch, a phone glowing inches from their face. But the truly wise? They lean into the quiet. They pause, not to punish, but to reflect. Because the real transformation doesn't only happen in action, it happens in awareness. And awareness is what turns a life on autopilot into a life of intention. How did I show up today? A question so simple, yet so few dare to ask it. He remembers once sitting in bed, eyes to the ceiling, realizing he'd gone the whole day reacting. Not living, reacting, like a leaf in the wind of everyone else's storms. But instead of blame or shame, he breathed deeply and chose compassion. Tomorrow, he whispered, I'll be 1% better. That's the power of auto-consciousness. You become your own coach, not your own critic. You begin to rebuild your emotional discipline one night at a time. And no, it doesn't require a journal, though that helps. It requires honesty. So tonight, when your head hits the pillow, turn inward before you turn off. Ask, did I live aligned with my intention today? And then, here's the real magic. Name 3 things you're grateful for. Out loud, if possible. Tell your partner. Write it down. Whisper it to the darkness. It rewires the mind to see light, even in shadow. And this practice does something else, something few ever realize. It begins to reshape the very way you see yourself. Day 4, redefine your identity. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. Not what you hope for, but what you believe yourself to be. And herein lies the secret most never uncover. Your results are reflections of your identity, not your desires. You can say, I want peace, success, love, but if deep down you believe you're not worthy, not capable, or not enough, then you'll sabotage every opportunity that contradicts that belief. You are not chasing goals. You are confirming beliefs. He once coached a man who said he wanted abundance, yet every day he lived like someone waiting for permission. I'm trying, he'd say. I'm surviving. And that was the problem. His intention was disconnected from his self-image. You can't plant seeds of greatness in soil that rejects them. So the first shift wasn't a new strategy, it was a new story. Who am I deciding to be today? That question, asked sincerely, becomes the key to unlocking growth, self-worth, and eventual autodominio. So who are you? Not yesterday, not your childhood, not your failures. Who are you becoming right now? Redefining your identity is not pretending. It's not delusion. It's alignment between belief and behavior. It's removing limiting beliefs and choosing a new energetic posture, one that walks into life as the person who already belongs where they're headed. When that shift happens, your external world starts to bend around your inner certainty. And with that, something else begins to bloom, something even more rare, gratitude for what isn't promised. Day 5, be grateful for what isn't guaranteed. There's a dangerous assumption most people live by. Tomorrow is guaranteed. They move through life as if time is unlimited, as if people will always be there, as if dreams can wait. But the truth? Every breath is borrowed. Every moment is a miracle dressed in ordinary clothes. And the ones who understand this live differently. They wake up with gratitude, not just for what they have, but for what they can't control. They value the impermanence that gives meaning to everything. He recalls a time when he almost lost someone he loved. In those fragile days, even a smile became a treasure. The lesson? It shouldn't take tragedy to feel wonder. Auto-consciousness means choosing to notice the blessings before they disappear. That glass of clean water, that unexpected text, that 1 hour of quiet, even your own respiration, steady, faithful, often ignored. When you practice this kind of gratitude, you rewire your identity from lack to overflow. Scarcity can't thrive in a heart that celebrates the now. So today, ask yourself, if nothing were guaranteed, what would you cherish? What would you bless with your full attention? What would you finally stop postponing? This mindset doesn't make you naive. It makes you present. And in this presence, you begin to attract more of what you truly value. Not because you're chasing it, but because you're finally aligned with it. And when fear tries to creep in and steal that gratitude, that's your cue. Because fear, my friend, is not the enemy, it's the invitation. Day 6, turn your fear into a superpower. There's a reason your heart races when you think about doing that one thing you've been avoiding. Fear isn't a stop sign, it's a spotlight. It reveals where your growth is hiding. The masses see fear and retreat, but the few, they lean in. They understand that behind every trembling hand lies a superpower waiting to be claimed. And those who rise to meet their fear don't just change their results, they change their identity. He once feared public speaking so deeply that he'd avoid even introducing himself in a room. Hands sweaty, throat tight, he'd shrink to stay safe. But then he did something radical. He made fear his teacher. Every week, he spoke in front of people. Imperfectly, awkwardly, but he showed up. And the more he faced it, the more he owned it. What was once a barrier became a bridge. That's how autodominio is built, not in theory, but in repetition. Over time, your fear begins to respect you. So here's the task. List your fears. Name them. Shame dies in the light. Are you afraid of rejection? Of being seen? Of failing again? Good. That means you're alive. Now face them, gently, consistently, even clumsily. Let the fear live in your body, then move anyway. That is how courage is built. That is how your energetic alignment shifts from avoidance to comprometimento. And when you do this, something powerful happens. You start to see not who you've been, but who you're becoming. And the version of you in the future? Oh, they're already watching. Day 7. Visualize your future self looking back. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the version of you that has already overcome what you're struggling with right now. That version of you exists, 10 years ahead, wiser, stronger, more grounded. They've lived through heartbreak, loss, self-doubt, and they made it through. And if they could speak to you today, they'd say, it mattered. Every small choice you made with intention mattered. This is the power of retrospectiva futura, to borrow wisdom from the future so you can make better decisions today. He once hit rock bottom, broke, discouraged, embarrassed. He thought life had ended. But years later, that exact low point became the turning point. Why? Because he started to live not for comfort, but for alignment with the future version of himself. Every action became a question. Would my future self thank me for this? That filter transformed his habits, friendships, and purpose. Your visualization isn't fantasy. It's a rehearsal for your transformation. And when practiced daily, it rewires your autoconfianza from the inside out. So today, sit in silence, even for 5 minutes, and ask, how does my highest self walk, speak, decide? Let that answer guide your steps. Because once you start living through the lens of who you are becoming, your decisions become cleaner, your desapego from the past grows, and your disciplined emotional stops being a burden. It becomes freedom. And the more you do this, the more you'll realize something unexpected. Your future self isn't far away. They're already with you. They always have been. And now it's your move.